Fun. Hi, this is Roberta Hill here, and I'm here today with Charisse Beach, who lives in Illinois and is the assistant principal for the Joliet Public Schools and a certified presenter for the Illinois State Board of Education. And Charisse has been working for a number of years. She holds a Master's of Education of Men, a Bachelor of Arts in English, and a whole bunch of other things in youth empowerment. But one of your major focuses is at-risk youth. And Charisse has written a book called At-Risk Students, Transforming Student Behavior. We want to talk to her today. I thought, Charisse, that it was an interesting title when it seems to me that a lot of what you're talking about is the ill-preparedness of the education system and teachers more than about transforming, student behavior. So maybe you could explain the title and your interest a little bit.
Well, your thought on that is absolutely on target. I feel today's youth remain at risk because our system has failed to progressively put things in place, strategies in place, procedures in place that would directly impact the growth and the ability for our at-risk students to improve. And that's done wholeheartedly. It has to be emotionally, it has to be academically, and it has to be socially. And we have not moved with that need as we should.
Now, you know that our focus is on autism and autistic students, but what percentage do you think of students are at risk in the general population?
Well, according to our school district, we have about 23%, and that would be including our autistic students, as well as the other diagnoses or other medical, academically challenged youth. And that is really significantly high when you think in terms of how many programs are effectively monitored and in place to meet those needs. It's really not that many.
Funding certainly isn't there. That's almost 0.25% of all students. Do you have any idea how much of that is on the autistic spectrum or not?
No, I really couldn't be accurate with that. We have a relatively low number here at our district, but with that said, I have so many friends and relatives and colleagues who either have children of their own who are on the spectrum or at some kind of advanced level of autism, and we dialogue constantly about how much is still needed because there's so much that's discovered, there's so much that's not implemented, and these kids are really suffering in silence daily.
Mm-hmm. Why don't you tell the people who are listening to this what it means to be at risk, so we make sure we're on this common ground here.
Okay. The definition for at-risk students applies 100% to what schools are doing or are not doing. The definition does not suggest that parents need to do something differently or neighbors need to do something differently. It is the mismatched needs of students to the services provided, meaning that what the students need, the schools are often unable or unwilling to provide it. And that further divides that student from becoming successful because they're expected to learn as the students who are sitting next to them without any issues at all. They're expected to learn the same way, which is unfair and unrealistic.
How can educators really change these policies when we know that there's cutbacks, there's lacks of resources, there isn't the funding for these kinds of programs? What can they do?
Well, one of the reasons for me writing my book was to share with educators the numerous strategies that have proven to work to at least start the dialogue, start the crucial conversations with other educators and community leaders and parents. And these all don't cost a lot of money. One of the things that we need is the real use of a wraparound service. If you are using this child as one, oftentimes autistic children are extremely bright. They communicate differently. So when they get out of school and they have parents who are working, as many of our students do, well, they need to have a check-in person. They need to have something in place where those hours between, let's say, 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock, that they're not at loss, wandering around looking for a stable environment or trying to make friends and having difficulties. It's so much happens between 3 and 6 p.m. to kids who have very limited support. Autistic children communicate differently, and they often find themselves in situations that don't turn out well because they can't communicate what's happening to them, and others don't take the time and don't know any better, and then we have problems.
Yeah. And certainly bullying is an issue, and I want to come back to that, but I thought we would talk about what are the three top signs that one of the questions you had, which was that so that you know a teacher is an adequate parent. What are the signs a parent know that their artistic child is having problems?
One of the major signs, and that's the one you trust the most, is